section. For this, I will invite. So we will having a fireside chat, and the idea behind this is whatever things we are doing and whatever things we are actually planning. Then let's try to have Mr. Waleed, if he join us, Ms. Mandar, and Chirag, please. So, actually, that topic which you see above, investment bridge between UAE and Saudi system, I'm a believer in it that it will happen either we are doing or someone else. So, and a lot of things have already happened. We have seen founders coming from UAE to India and setting up shop in India. Definitely seen companies coming from India to UAE because, as I said, funding is flowing, and there is shortage of startups. Yesterday we got an input, and I will try to get it from the recommended people today, right? So we have these players like Chirag, he runs his own VC fund, which is pretty active in the fintech space, right? Mr. Waleed, he is pretty like when I was going through his profiles and all, he is damn active in how the community has to be built up, and I will definitely allow both of everyone to actually explain themselves. Mandar is here, super active. He's also hosting, coming as a guest on a show also, which is on the funding. So pretty active, helps a lot of startups already. So no other than we could think of that how we can actually bring the right panel to the discussion and have those meaningful conversations. Okay? So I will allow everyone to please give their notes. I will bug them with some questions and we will see how this conversation goes, but I'm actually looking forward to it.
Thank you. This is first was a great partner, which I'm sure you can it's been a long session for you so far. So thank you everyone for coming over. My name is Chirag. I lead as a managing partner for a firm called Expansions. As you rightly mentioned, we look at FinTech, but we also do DeepTech investments. My personal focus has been the Indian investments, and we have been doing DeepTech C2 series investments, but we do look at the Middle Eastern investments as well. So happy to take the questions later on, but I'll pass the mic to that right now.
First of all, actually any start, any beginning has to start with a good. What we are trying to do here is to bring connectivity, bring people from different businesses to discuss. So I've worked with this to bring such an interesting idea for us. The VC community, the investment community, I think, have grown into that. From where I'm coming from, we work on the semi-government, where we can try to develop India, Dubai, Africa platform. I do believe the growth that the past 2 years growth, or even I call it the COVID growth that happened specifically in India, have also bypassed us here. You will wonder in what area is it investment? No, actually, it's a business growth. I mean, we've been talking to some of these companies to join hand with them and grow into different markets. To name, I mean, out of confidentiality, we start communicating at least now with 10 companies in India who are involved in transportation, agriculture, and e-commerce, etc. To join together and actually go to Dubai, and from Dubai also look at expanding into Africa. So I see a good element of development happening from a business perspective. which will result later on into investment. I think this is what take it further after the discussions. But this is basically who I am. Myself, I'm an ex-government individual. I was involved in the development of Dragon, providing material city, German future. And later on, we went into some government domain through two product Dubai consultants and we created this.
Thank you so much. Sonicon Ventures, thank you for inviting me, first of all. It's absolutely a privilege to share the stage with two dignitaries from the startup world. As an introduction, I focus my attention on three things. So I'll take probably 30 seconds to talk about each of them. Number one is I'm a founder and also managing partner of a company called M Strategy Global. We are a leading deal structuring advisory, M&A advisory company. We also structure VC investments in startups. All the partners together have completed more than 1.4 billion US dollar deal value in advisory services. We have offices in Dubai, of course, our headquarters, and we also have presence in Riyadh, Jeddah, Bahrain, and Cairo. This is number one. Second is I'm a shareholder of Venture Catalyst, which is today arguably India's largest integrated incubator. We are also ranked as world number 2 in terms of active investors, early stage after Y Combinator. We have invested in more than 400 Indian startups, mostly idea stage and early stage. We also established and we are managing India's first idea stage fund called 9 Unicorns Accelerator Fund, which is regulated by SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. This is a regulatory authority in India, like you have seen. And through the fund as well, we have invested in more than 100 and 115 startups by now. This is part number 2. The third one is, as you mentioned, I'm not a guest on the show, I'm sorry for that. There is a production company called Horses Productions Private Limited, which is formed by me and Mahavirji. So we are the co-producers of the show, and we produce the show with Mr. Sunil Shetty, Bollywood superstar. And the show is called Horses Stable, Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar. It's a funding platform. It's a homegrown, very humble Bangalore startup, answering what Shark Tank developed or Dragon's Den developed over the globe for last 20 years. Our season 4 is right now running. We come on Aaj Tak HD, the national news channel in Hindi. The show is in Hindi. The second episode will be releasing today, so every Saturday we release one episode. So this is, and of course our show is supported by Niti Aayog and Atal Innovation Mission, which are government bodies. So these are the three things as an introduction. One more important thing I wanted to say is I have never seen I've never seen a VC fund pitching from a stage for the investors. This is, I think, a very innovative concept, and I would like to pitch a few funds that we have also. And this is, I think, the first time I have heard. I've been in the startup ecosystem for 5, 6, 7 years now, but this is the first time that a VC fund gets an opportunity to pitch to family offices. So this is, I think, fantastic initiative.
Thanks, Lord. That was what we need. So we have these gentlemen. I'm just here to put some questions in front of them. Let's see how things go from there. Right? So first thing, Chirag, I will start with you. As you are active, I've seen your LinkedIn. Like you're pretty active. I should see him giving all the jargons a meeting, and he explained all this wonderful video. So to you, how do you see, let's say, FinTech is something which was done a lot in India, and it's typically getting. Yesterday also we were discussing about Fireside Chat. We have termed it as overdone, not in a derogatory manner, but everyone is trying to manage money, and FinTech is coming up. Right? So as you are from this industry, how do you see UAE and India can build something together, or how do you see FinTech and at least DeepTech? DeepTech is my favorite subject until I understand those algorithms what's going on. Right? So what do you see that how Indian UAE can build up a great FinTech ecosystem, and how do you see the future?
So I'm going to break down this question into parts. One is the FinTech part and one is the DeepTech part. In the FinTech part, I agree and disagree with you that it's overdone. So there are certain parts of FinTech which are overdone, especially when it comes to solving the problems of the urban people. Yes, I think it's starting to be saturated now. So it's kind of getting overdone over there. However, there's a big untapped market in India right now who do not carry the Apple phones or the high-end Android phones, which are typically needed by a lot of fintech apps right now. And if I was reading some statistics, like about 92% of the population right now are not even touched by the fintech apps or the solutions that are available right now in India. So yes, there's the 8% of the population probably is overdone with multiple, they're crowded by multiple fintech solutions, but it is still about 92% of population is not being touched with the fintech solution. Now, on that, there's some very interesting initiatives that NITI and especially IIT Chennai, I've been a fan of IIT Chennai, they have come up with very interesting solutions or platforms to help develop fintech startups for the remaining 92% of the population now. And what I find interesting, a lot of startups are actually working with the UAE investors or also working with the UAE ecosystem. And the reason they are working with the UAE ecosystem, when you are in the UAE, you have access to Egypt ecosystem, you have access to Lebanon, Jordan, and Indian ecosystem. And if you can test out and prove a solution probably in Egypt, for example, in certain parts of Egypt, there is a lot of commonalities on how Indian fintech works, how Jordanian fintech works, how Lebanese fintech works for the unbanked population of the world. I'm very cautious and cautiously avoiding the Saudi here because Saudi is definitely a place which has been overdone in terms of fintech. 95% of the people in Saudi right now are using some or other fintech solutions. And a lot of startups until probably 2020 were talking about expanding the Saudi ecosystem. But now I can noticeably see the change when I talk to the DeepTech, for example, when I go to the ISC FinTech Hire. There are a couple of solutions that are building for the unbanked population or the rural population in India or in Egypt or other parts of the world. So that's my thought of the FinTech area. I'm going to go on to the DeepTech area now. DeepTech is something which I am personally very passionate about, and DeepTech is a very loose term. So I'll just take 30 seconds to clarify what is DeepTech. DeepTech is an area where technology is your competitive advantage, and marketing dollar may or may not be a competitive advantage. That's the simplest definition of DeepTech. So for example, right now, if you say I can deliver grocery in 8 minutes instead of 10 minutes, which is available right now, I will not qualify in this DeepTech because most likely what you're doing is you're going to burn ridiculous millions and millions of dollars to establish dark stores that can expedite the supply chain and be delivered cost. That's not really DeepTech. However, if you tell me that you can actually install a camera and based on the camera, I have access to the LinkedIn profile or the Twitter profile of everyone sitting here, immediately coming to my phone app directly, that's potentially a DeepTech because that solves a little bit of problem because a lot of people here are going to go on their phone and find each other on the phone to figure out who's sitting in this room. A solution like that actually hinges on technology. Now, for those solutions, a lot of these solutions are being built in India right now, are being brought to the UAE market. That used to be the case. However, because of the taxation benefits, because of the access, the ease of operating, because of the regulations, it has been noticed that are getting more traction in the UAE market even though they might be building a solution for the India, they might be building a solution for Egypt, but they are actually consciously moving to the UAE ecosystem and then building it. And once they mature, they might do like a fly over to the India to go and sell it over there, but they are building it over there. Metaverse, blockchain, and cryptocurrency are some of those areas around that. Some of the technologies in the oil and gas space, in the DeepTech space, are also like that. So in fact, I personally have a perfect model when I find, because I sit in Dubai and I travel to India all the time and I see people now investing. It used to be the case probably until last year that people are sitting here and investing in the Indian ecosystem, and things are starting to change also now. I see some of the family offices in India. They may or may not be active investing, but they're interested in what's being built in UAE now. So the money is moving on both the directions right now. I'm going to pause here and see if you have other comments, or happy to hear comments on Bullies or on the others.
Right. So thanks a lot for touching all these points, because all these jargons, when it comes to metaverse and deep tech spaces, that's a wonderful explanation over there. I will have a different question from Mr. Wali. So, Wali, when you see that India and UAE have kind of it's a distinct culture. We come from a different land. It's different approach. How we have been grown in India. Like personally, we used to be in my school days. I used to see that we are inferior, but now I feel privileged to be an Indian because we're becoming different long way. Talking about people from UAE, you guys are definitely on top. When we entered Dubai, this is my first visit for sure. So when we entered Dubai, and this was like how these guys have made these structures and so magnanimous. Like my team was just taking pictures, like wow, right? So there's a different culture. India is also coming into a different platform, and also UAE. And also, I would love to know your perspective. I will just drop this question, this follow-up question that UAE has been an oil economy. Right? You guys have built up whole your structural oils dependencies, right? And now technology is taking over, and a lot of things are happening. Too much US penetration, too much India. So how do you see a future for UAE and India building up something together, and how these different type of people, because we can see in the audience also there are Indian touch, there is UAE touch. How do you see both ecosystems work very well together?
It's an interesting question. I have a bit view that is see if you look around, you see Indian culture everywhere in UAE. So it's not like we are running a different mechanism and thought process different than. You go to India, sometimes when I go to Mumbai, I see similar structure. Of course, the food is the same. And in the end, also, look at it. I think UAE is not, doesn't even, I don't know, maybe Mumbai is bigger than UAE. It's a small country. Decision making is easier when you run a small country. People give an example of Singapore, Dubai. And also, we were lucky that we took drivership into leadership. We come from tribes, and the type of management that exists, people are believing in the type of leadership to take them further. So that made the process of decision making easier, which resulted in, and we were lucky that there is countries that have more money than what we have, but they don't have the right leadership that takes them. And we were lucky that, alhamdulillah, leadership looks after the growth and the development of the country. So that's what benefit from it. Don't worry about the buildings. I think you can see more buildings in so many countries. The country here, they develop good money, time, effort in developing human resources, and especially local human resources. But also, we surrounded ourselves with brothers and sisters from India, from Lebanon, from Russia, from everywhere. Everybody who comes to this country, he can come here. Second, you are not afraid. Here we have a law. Okay, some cases happen that it goes north and south. But if you go by the law, if you go by the book, you would agree that your investment is safe. Even, you feel safe for your investment, for your life. That by itself attracted people to come, to invest, to think, to teach their kids. So that's ecosystem. And it's not technology. Technology came after. I come from a family where I was born in an area, some of you know, it's called the Shildara. The most people, even if you come as a well family, still you are nothing compared to them. But we were opening our arms to all nationalities, learning from people, communicating. In my opinion, that's the main factor for the success of Dubai. It's not technology, money. No. When you welcome people, you listen to them, you listen to you respect their thought, you respect their religion, you respect it. It's okay, you're different, but I have to respect your freedom. In my opinion, that's the main success factor for Dubai. But when it comes to technology, see, once you develop human resources, I'll give you an example. You'll be very surprised how we were part of the first leadership program created. And you'll be surprised, for 2 years, 3 years, all the top leadership were being sent to Harvard School of Business to learn. And one fact that we just realized, when we went to Harvard School of Business, after we came back, we sat together. Honestly, we learned. But you know what we came up with? A lot of new things are happening here that Harvard School of Business never seen. What does that relate to? Because we are open, because we want to share ideas. The best brains that exist here, I have a lot of people friends from the VC community, investment, startups. Actually, yesterday I was invited by some of you know him or not, PK Gulati. I was sitting yesterday with PK and talked how this industry has grown. I was preparing for you, that's why. Okay. So that's in my opinion. It's about the culture. It's about, my grandfather. I think he literally 70, 80, 90. There's a lot of trade between you and me. So it's a second home for us and it's a second home for you. That's the main, in my opinion, that's the success factor. Technology have developed, technology is international. I went to school in the US, I attended the .com era, I seen all this, but when it started, it was not like that. Today we go to India, we go to Africa, what do we see? People say, Dubai is. I have the Minister of Investment in Ghana. I say, you feel good, you come to Dubai. He said that I feel good, people respect me, I learn new ideas, which I take to Ghana, and we start implementing. So that's in short the success of the effort.
I guess when you speak, it's kind of music to my ears. So that's the most compliment. And note when you said it's the second number Indians, that is an applause. Right. So moving on to Mandar, the super active guy in the ecosystem, and he is pretty close to startups, and I can definitely vouch for that. So Mandar, how was your experience? I will give you a brief, little candid question that you have seen Dubai, you have seen India. What makes you feel that, first of all, what's your most favorite? That can be a very difficult question to answer because you can't upset them and you can't upset India, at least for me. So a little bit question that how do you distinguish between both the ecosystem and how do you feel that investing from India to UAE or UAE people investing in India can bring synergies? How do you put that question? I hope that's not.
So I'll answer the most difficult question first. So in Indian culture, I think most of you know Hindi, most of you who come from India. Excellent, excellent. So we have two concepts in Indian culture. One is Janma Bhumi and one is Karma Bhumi. And both are equally important to you. So that answers your questions. You cannot differentiate between Janma Bhumi, the land of birth, and land of work. These are the two most important aspects for any person, spiritual. I'll just take it forward from where he left for a minute. When he said that the cultures are different or the technology came after and so on, I think the key word here is to me innovation. It's not technology. So now 10 years in Dubai and reading a lot about the history of UAE. I think when the Dubai International Airport was established or when Emirates Airlines was established, I think it was an innovation in this region and you will agree. There was no major airline, international airline which will connect Europe, Africa and Asia together. This was an innovation to me. When it's not about the structures, the towers, but when Dubai started building Palm Jumeirah, to me, it's not technology, but it is the innovation. It is something new that you are bringing, which nobody could imagine. And now we have Burj Khalifa is another example. There are so many examples that UAE has put across to the world, which to me are innovation and not technology. I agree with him. Technology came afterwards. Cultures are same. Also, I agree with him. I know many Emirati people who love eating lacha paratha with malai paneer. If that happens, and we all love kebabs and biryanis and so on, right, which came from this culture. So if that happens, that's the real cultural exchange. So to me, cultures are mixed. I think UAE and India. Oh yes, yes, sure, sure, sir, sure. Uh, uh, yes, and I also wanted to make another point that we talk about today the trade between India and UAE. History goes back when India was not yet India and UAE was not yet UAE. Our trade of spices, our trade of gold, our trade of textiles between the two countries started when they were not even countries. They didn't know that we will be a country one day. So it dates back probably a few hundred years. And today, I think we are doing yearly more than 60 billion US dollars bilateral trade and the global estimates, World Economic Forum put a report, and they say that by 2025, the bilateral trade between the two countries will go beyond 100 billion US dollars. Now, startup investments and startup business or trade is one small part of this $100 billion story. And yes, now technology will also boost this bilateral trade, bilateral business relationships, and so on. I'll give you an example. Now, Sunicon Ventures, I saw your slide that you said that we will go global. Okay, and which country you choose first? It is UAE. It is UAE, right? Why? Because geographically it is just a 3 hour flight. Okay. Culturally, you see many people, who look and feel like you in this country. As he said, the people, Emirati people, basically respect Indians. Other nationalities as well, they are very welcoming. The approach is very inviting, very welcoming. So these are the few things. Now, politically, also, let me give you. You mentioned in one of the slides. I was looking at that. 18th of January 2022, a 150 million US dollars India UAE venture capital fund was established. First ever venture capital fund between India and UAE to invest in startups. Another milestone happened when 18th of February, there was a virtual meeting when Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, and His Royal Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, they came online and they announced the India UAE Startup Investment Bridge. a very detailed online video call happened, and I think the systems or the teams of both the countries at very high level are now discussing about taking it forward politically as well. So I think culturally, politically, commercially, we are all aligned, and I think this is just the beginning.
I love what you explained actually, and I also love what Willie was talking about. One of the questions that he didn't ask, but I need to bring it up, is that so UAE is not the only country talking about innovation. UAE is not the only country talking about technology or tax benefits or political stability. There has been Singapore, there has been Mauritius, Cayman Islands, and there have been many places which have been tax haven. They are beautiful, beautiful. Mauritius, the weather is amazing. What I personally love about UAE is the ability to bring the best of all the aspects that will drive the stability in the investments ecosystem, bringing the political stability, making sure how to use the best use of the winters, or how to transition from, borrowing his words, to transitioning from the oil-based economy to a tech-based or innovation-based economy. The transition is so beautiful that I personally have not seen anywhere else. And I worked in 11, this is my 11th country I've been working on, and I have not stayed very long in any country. UAE is the only country where I decided to buy my home and settle down because, like what we said, like the combination of all those things which actually drive the investment. And if a country can hold people like me who have been like a suitcase businessman to bring it to the ground to Dubai, I am sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure there are many, many people thinking about the same. And the trend is not stopping, it's starting right now. So it's a journey, it has just started. I don't feel that some people say it's been 10 years, it's getting saturated. I believe that actually it's the beginning of the journey right now, and there's a massive, massive shift, the amount of openness, amount of contracts, discussions that are happening. To me, it's like the Indian entry to the global ecosystem in my mind.
I think one element we see, which is barrier to trade. You know, barrier to trade is whether you see it in Egypt, you see it in India, you see it even sometimes in UAE. I'll give you an example of e-commerce. We decided to start an e-commerce platform, maybe serving the last frontier, which in my opinion is Africa. You know, e-commerce are growing. You have the Flipkarts of the world, you have the Amazon, you have the Alibaba. On one country we realize that we can compete is Africa. You want to bring in Alibaba, bring him. You want to bring in Amazon, bring him. Why? 80%, 90% of, we went and we started putting money in e-commerce, then we had the break. We realized that 80% to 90% of Africa doesn't use online. They use what? Offline. Also, we started realizing that one of the biggest barriers of trade is the high taxes. So what we did, we went there, we turned around, and we created an online, but with an offline thought process. Then we went there, we went and we bought into an e-commerce company, and we started selling e-commerce by kilo. Why? Because why I'm giving you this example? If you look at trade between UAE and India, look at needs, look at requirements, look at what people want. Don't worry about, of course, you will face the custom authority coming in after you, the revenue authority. But if you find the needs and you know how to solve that, now we are serving anything an African want. Doesn't matter. I'm part of the team. I started Tijari.com. And I used to tell Shahadun, I used to tell her, if someone bring me cash, you will not accept it. No, Oracle, you invested so much with Oracle. I said, screw Oracle. If someone bring me by TEDx, I take the money. If someone bring me by... So technology should not be a barrier. Second, the rules should be, if you are smart, you find a way to work with rules. We tried to start something. In the beginning, we faced problems. You know, I love India, but don't get me wrong. Huh? It's not an easy place to go and set up something. But then we started working out things. We identified a partner who, then we started doing things from Dubai to India, rather than I go and I set up a shop. So my advice, to just find needs. With needs, everything will be taken care of.
Wonderful. All these inputs combined gives a lot of gist about how both the ecosystems can collaborate. I guess on that note, if anyone has one question, we can just or we can move forward. Anyone has a question? Go on.
I think you were pretty clear.
You were pretty clear. See,
Never
what did we-
ever doubt now.
But I will listen.
Between India and UAE.
Either we made a lot of sense, or we didn't make any sense.
No, the latter is not true. So let's have a round of applause for all these three people to take out a lot of insights too, right? So let's have a photograph.
I'm not the youngest investor.
Yes. See, that's diversity.
All this time,
Youngest investor on.
you guys saw that I was smiling. You know what he's doing? Look at technology, how quickly it's done. He was trying from there to use facial recognition to open my phone. So he used there.
Smart, too smart. Okay, let's have.
That's right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.